What we're doing today is getting more familiar with this template. You can see there are some step-by-step instructions of the things I want us all to do. The general idea of today is starting to translate the HTML that you maybe kind of remember. You don't have to have it memorized, of course. We haven't done it in a while. But HTML is formulas, meaning they happen the same way every time. What I'm showing you today is a new home for those HTML formulas within our template that has a lot more advanced functionality, okay? Think of these May folders like binders that you turn in at the end of the month, and all the different projects or assignments that we'll be doing throughout May will be inside of this one folder, so you only have to deploy one thing, and I can check it all at one link instead of a whole bunch of assignments overlapping, okay? So that's what we're going to be experimenting with today, especially the differences between old HTML and new HTML. And I've provided a couple cheat sheets which will come into play a little bit later. Okay? You have the option to follow along with me as I do it, or I can help you individually. I'd prefer if you followed along with me, but I know I have a tendency to go a little bit fast because I like to check in with y'all one-on-one. So I make sure you understand. Anyways. We're going to talk about using our May folder, the one that we created, the copy that takes forever to copy and paste. We're going to be opening our P5 May folders, and those are going to stay open because that's the main source of where everything's going to live, right? So I'm going to go to File, Open Folder, and I'm going to look for the one that I copied the other day, which, where did it go? Because I saw, that wasn't it. Where'd it go? Oh, I put it in a different folder because my OneDrive was being weird. Let me find where I saved my binder. This is an important thing to remember. There's my P5 May Blakeney. You want to remember where you keep your binder so you can find it a little bit later. Or sorry, not a little bit later. Anyways, point is we're going to select that folder and you should see a whole bunch of subfolders as well as some new stuff on the side here. That is the new version of the code that we're writing. So technically what we're doing with this language and with this template is we're actually making a little app. It's just the app appears as a website and interacts like you would with a website, okay? But we're writing more of something called a JavaScript app, single page application, that becomes a site. Meaning, I tell you that because what is this folder called right here? Might be relevant to what we're talking about. It's called app, okay? This is where your website lives. This is where the code that we're going to be writing for this class is going to be inside of the app folder. So when you expand that app folder, you're going to see a couple more subfolders and then a file extension called TSX. TSX has this little like atomic icon, right? If you're seeing the atomic icon. A couple of these are not very page themed, but one of them is, right? Page.tsx. This page.tsx, the first thing I want you to think about, this is kind of like your new index.html, which means when you load the site, which I'll show you how to do here in just a second, that's the first thing that gets loaded, okay? Index.html inside of the app subfolder, and then we'll get to all this stuff a little bit later, okay? Now, how do you actually run your site? This was some of the terminal commands that we talked about the other day. It says npm run dev by going to terminal, new terminal, and it will likely remember the last terminal you had open, but because I opened a new folder, it reset back to default. To get to command prompt, the one that we want, you click on this small little triangle that says launch profile until you see command prompt. If you try to write the code that you see in the Canvas instructions, not that one, the Canvas instructions right here, npm run dev, and you get this error, let me show you real quick. If you get this error, it's because you're in PowerShell. You're not quite in the right matrix command terminal. So we're going to click on the drop-down, go to command prompt. We're going to type the letters npm run dev and get our car started. Remember, that was the analogy that I used yesterday. In order for us to do anything with our car, with our big template car right here, we need to have it turned on, okay? You know it's done correctly when you see the purple triangle or the purple-ish triangle and then the two green check marks. We want to hold Control and click on localhost 3000, or if you hover over it long enough, you'll see this blue follow link appear. We're going to click that, okay? In clicking that, a bunch of stuff pops up, and once you see Get 200, you should have loaded the templates for May inside of your browser, all right? our car has now turned on. Our engine is running, which means any changes that we make to our page files, our TSXs, which I'm going to show you here in a second, will automatically be reflected. So, that was a lot of info really, really quickly. Okay, I'll show you what this was alongside of the instructions here. Are we clicking the celebrate button again? I hear some clicking. You're gonna crash your computer. It's good. It's too many particles. Anyways, we've opened our folder. We've opened a new terminal. We've switched to the command prompt, and we've turned on our car with the phrase npm run dev. Okay. We've Ctrl+clicked on the local link. We are now on step number 6 in the step-by-step here. To get to where step number 6 makes sense, we need to open up our new index file, which is page.tsx. Okay. Now, when I do that, you're going to see we can make our terminal a little bit smaller because we want to be able to see all this code in here. This is a lot. Okay. This is a big spike in difficulty compared to what we've been talking about in class so far. An important thing to remember is that's just looking at it. Okay. This type of language has a lot of things that even I don't understand, okay? You do not have to be an expert in knowing every single part of HTML, React, TypeScript, whatever. You just need to know how to make it work, okay? Be a fixer, not a memorizer. Anyways, before I show you what code happens inside of the return right here, if I go back to my output, remember this is the name for the actual site that we're writing code for. I'm going to close the snake games real quick. Let me do that because I need y'all locked in, brother. All right, anything else I should close? Yes. Sorry, everybody. Minesweeper 2. I'm not talking the whole period, I promise. Okay, anyways. What does this icon say right here? Not a trick question. It says home, right? What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Okay. What do you maybe notice? Hey, quit celebrating. What do you maybe notice about the contents of the app folder right here? Do any of these look similar? Perhaps they have exactly the same name, right? Maybe they're not in the exact same order because we go A, B, D, P. They are in alphabetical order. Every new page that's not the home page equals a folder, okay? So if you want to see how the celebrate button is put together and you want to try and reverse engineer it like a couple of 4th period students did, you want to find on the output where that celebrate button is. There's one on the home page, but there's also some on the docs page, right? So if we go into where it says docs inside of app, you're going to see another page.tsx. Why do you think the computer is able to understand that this is one thing and that this down here is another thing? Any guesses? I want you to pay very close attention to this setup right here. Okay, any guesses? It's in different folders, exactly. They are in different folders. Another way to think about a folder, that's supposed to be an E, I can't spell, is, I'll make sure you can read this part, folders equal containers. All right, like we talked about with the divs a little while ago. Okay, sorry, I ran out of room a little bit. Whatever page.tsx is inside of your app drawer, just by itself, becomes your home page. It's the first page that gets loaded in the call stack, and then anything else gets its own subfolder. Okay? That's an important thing to keep in mind when you want to add more pages or when we do more assignments in future or throughout the rest of this month. Hold on, let me close another Minesweeper that popped up.
You tap close.
I did. I have the ability. Okay, now let's refocus on the page.tsx inside of the app folder. This is our home page. So let's get these things matching up so that our input kind of matches our output. We can see directly what kind of stuff is going on. All right. This is a lot of code. This is a lot of code inside of this return function right here, something that we'll get into a little bit later. But for the purposes of today, I want you to think about this return on line number 19 of app/page.tsx as your HTML start and stop tags. Okay? So we'll add a little slash over here to show HTML start and stop. That means everything that fits inside of the return function, which has a parenthesis that starts it, and is that the, oh, I had it backwards. Sorry. A parenthesis that starts it and a parenthesis that ends it with a semicolon after it. Okay? What you can do in order to start translating the HTML that you know, or at least parts of the HTML that you remember, in case you need a reminder, there is a cheat sheet, resource number 1, right here on Canvas. We can either comment out all of this code or delete it completely. Because we have that template saved and we want to adjust it as necessary as we do more assignments, as we do more projects, we want to have a home for our HTML to live. Just might be a little bit different than the home that you're used to, okay? So I'm going to show you the comment shortcut real quick because I want to keep all of this well-written code. I don't want to delete it completely. The shortcut to comment things out is the control button and then the slash. Think of it like a lever in Minecraft, okay? Now what you're going to notice is if I refresh, because I haven't saved yet, oh, maybe it is working. Interesting. We'll get to that here in a second. So if you want to create these comments, the shortcut for that is the control key plus the slash button, which is on your question mark. Think about it like a lever in Minecraft. That says lever, trust me, where you can set it to on or off, okay, by commenting it in or out. You can also leave yourself notes, but for today, just use it as a comment on off thing. What's going on up here? Is my page.tsx happy? Yes or no?
No.
No. Any guesses why? It's, well, yes, true. But any guesses why it's unhappy?
Because you did save it.
I did not save it, that's true. What we're telling our code to do, I'll give you a hint. We're telling our code to return something, and it doesn't know what to return. Okay? We've told our computer, give me something, and then it doesn't know what something is. So we got to tell it what something is. We tell it what something is with HTML. Okay? So you can go after this section right here. I highly recommend with this language you add a div instead of an HTML start tag. Now it's going to be happy because it has something to return. So when I Ctrl+S to save this, the default part of the template goes away because we Minecraft lever turned it off. Okay? Does that make sense? What you can do now inside of this divider that you've just created is write HTML like you remember. It's not perfect. This is not the way we'll do it the entire rest of the year, but for today, I want you to remember how to do HTML inside of a new spot inside of the return function. Okay? If you're looking for tags to add, there's the classics. There's images, there's paragraphs, there's headers, there's more dividers. You can still add, we'll get to Tailwind a little bit later, actually. We don't have CSS like we're used to. But if we look where we're at in the step-by-step instructions, we've cleared all the code, either by deleting it or by commenting it out, all the way from line 20 down to line 48. We've commented that out. We've added HTML, like you remember, in between the return functions on line number 19, and we are guessing and checking until it works. Okay? You have an HTML cheat sheet right here that gives you a bunch of different code that you can add that's a little bit more fun than the boring stuff that I've shown you thus far. If we wanted to add this burger emoji, for example, if I hover over it, you're going to see a little piece of code right here that we can, is HTML, right? Is HTML like we're used to. Click on it, Ctrl+C to copy it, and then I can go back to my divider and I can go paste, 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 paste. Okay? And if I go back to my output, why are there no burgers on it? I didn't what? I did not save it. How can you tell I didn't save it? Because there is a white dot right here. So in order to save, we need to, or in order to get rid of that white dot, you need to save. You can also turn on autosave if you want. I kind of find myself using it or not using it. I mean, I'd switch between using it and not using it. But whatever works for you, I'm going to go File, Save, and then a whole bunch of burgers are going to appear on my page. It's also taken away the previous template formatting. That was not what I meant to do. What you're going to find is sometimes with React, you do stuff you didn't mean to. Is it because I'm missing one of these? Let's try that. No, it's because of the HTML. So I'm going to comment out these HTML lines and Ctrl+S, refresh. Now it's back to the regular stuff right here. So maybe don't use an HTML right here. How did I get this to happen without having to type all that out? That's the Ctrl+// comment shortcut. So let's write that out. Comment shortcut. Okay, let's see where we're at in the step-by-step instructions for today. We cleared the code. We're guessing and checking. Steps 9, 10, and 11 are for when you're done. What I want you to do once I finish this YAP sesh is to try adding HTML inside of this return bucket, applying what you knew already to what is new for us. I want to show you how to turn off your car, though. When you're done, after you've saved, let's not go to ports, let's go to terminal right here. When you're done and you're ready to save your work, when you're ready to turn off your car, it's a very, very simple command. Inside of the terminal, you go Ctrl+C, and it's going to ask you, do you want to terminate this server? The answer is Y for, not T. Y for yes, and when you hit enter, you should go back to your site like so. And when I refresh my Discount Time Machine website, it's busted. Because we've turned off the server, we've stopped letting that code be accessible, which means we're back inside of a development sort of environment. Okay? Does that make sense? If it doesn't make perfect sense right now, the rest of the day is making sure that you know where the return bucket is, make sure you know the comment shortcut, make sure you know how to find the HTML cheat sheet, and importantly, you know how to start and stop your server, your development environment. Okay? Sound good?
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. So I'm going to wrap up this video, upload it, and then Jake and I will be able to help y'all accomplish getting some HTML inside of this return function. Okay? Money. Thank you. Good listening today. Appreciate it.